So Mario and Luigi Brothership just got some big news because since we've last spoke about this game, not only have the critics and press been able to go hands-on and actually share their initial impressions about the game, which we will be looking at a roundup of what they are saying over from Nintendo Life, we also now know the studio behind this game from a development perspective, and it's actually the team involved with Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, which might be really exciting for some people out there. I know I am definitely excited to see them involved, and it was an unexpected reveal for this game, as not anybody really had this Acquire studio on their radar as a development partner with Nintendo for this game. And lastly, we have to talk about some unfortunate news that just hits all of the physical games that come out for Nintendo Switch nowadays, and this one surprisingly way earlier than just about any other game in history that I can remember reporting on as far as it being leaked and out in the wild early. Mario and Luigi Brothership literally has copies being sold online of this game, hitting the street roughly 18 days ahead of release, or almost, 2.5, almost 3 full weeks ahead of when this game was actually planned to be in the hands of players, which is obviously going to be very problematic for seeing spoilers and things like that online. So we will not be discussing any potential spoilers that are out there in this video clearly, but use this as your warning reminder that if you want to avoid spoilers, you will have to tread lightly looking at information tied to this game on social media and all your favorite websites. So we'll get on the same page with all this new info. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And we have to first kick it off by hopping over to Nintendo Life, where they do have a preview roundup from a number of different critics who got to go hands-on with this game ahead of release. And I want to read through what they have to say because it does do a good job kind of setting your expectations in terms of what to look forward to when it comes to this game ahead of its November 7th release. So first off, with Nintendo Life themselves, their own roundup says, the wait for a new Mario and Luigi RPG has felt like a long time coming, but from what we've seen so far, Brothership is going to be well worth the wait. We still don't know the development team behind this one, though Nintendo has confirmed that some of the original developers are involved. But this entry already feels like it has taken all of the best bits from the Alpha Dream playbook. RPG site had this to say: Mario and Luigi Brothership scope is certainly wider, and its console-bound presentation is a beauty to behold. The RPG mechanics are bigger and bolder than ever, but all in the right ways. It's still got that smallness and coziness. God is a Geek said, fans of the series will lap this one up, I am sure, but Mario and Luigi Brothership also has a level of challenge and deep gameplay mechanics that run far deeper than its super bright cartooned aesthetics. It looks like being one of the best entries in the series so far, and I'm excited to see what more fun I can have sailing around Concordia with two of gaming's most beloved and enduring icons. Mashable says, it seems like experimentation will pay off in Brothership, which is a hallmark of any decent RPG. Between that and a simple leveling system in which you choose from a series of permanent upgrades at set level intervals, it seems like Brothership has enough customization to bolster the tactile satisfaction of the combat. And lastly, NME said, Mario and Luigi games have always been fan favorites, but the future looked bleak after longtime developers Alpha Dream went bankrupt in 2019. Brothership has been worked on by some of the original team, though Nintendo is keeping which studio created the game under wraps for the time being, and from what we experienced, the whole thing has been lovingly created. Now, you might have noticed in a couple of those different previews, people are wondering who developed this game, because it does sound like a very positive experience overall, both aesthetically and just the gameplay progression, as well as the depth of the RPG mechanics, all stuff you want to hear. And that's where the confirmation of Acquire being the studio partnered with Nintendo for this was a really big deal. As you can see this post from Nintendo on Twitter, which says, confirmed, Mario and Luigi Brothership was co-developed by Acquire, Octopath Traveler, Tenchu, Way of the Samurai, to name a few of their games. So this is maybe the sign of good things to come and a better working relationship together between Nintendo and Acquire for future iterations of the Mario and Luigi franchise, because if Brothership sells well, and I think it will do decent, I mean, the Mario RPG games, for what their budget is, do seem to sell really well amongst their fan base. I think Nintendo is going to continue to pump iterations of this franchise out, and maybe Acquire is the go-to co-developed studio that they will bring into this style of Mario game for the foreseeable future. And if you're somebody who's a fan of Octopath Traveler 1 or 2, I would love to know your thoughts around this. Are you more excited knowing that Acquire is indeed the developer for this thing, or co-developed with Nintendo? And does that get you any more hyped for some of the potential depth of the combat mechanics within this game and some of the systems that Acquire built out in the Octopath game? So sounds like some of the Alpha Dream team was indeed involved as well, but Acquire and Nintendo working together on Brothership was a big surprising piece of news. news. Now, the last piece we have to talk about information wise and serve this as a warning to everybody to avoid leaks and spoilers online. You can just find images of this game appearing out there in the wild. It looks like more or less somebody who is involved with shipping and receiving somewhere in the supply chain has essentially just grabbed a box of these games, as there's some verified real photos of somebody just holding up the case and then having a box of all of the cases, and then even having all of the different like Macari postings going live online already. They're probably being shipped out to early buyers as we speak, and that means it's only a matter of time. I have not, at the time of filming this video, seen any kind of confirmation that the ROM file is circulating online wildly at this point, but it will happen soon. When these copies get into the hands of who purchased them, likely a lot of those individuals are not just buying it early for their own enjoyment, but rather what typically happens is it makes its way into a hacked switch. You can dump the entire file and share it around online, and once that happens, we obviously know what we're dealing with, potentially looking at end game content online. People start streaming it online and discussing key moments in the story and sharing screenshots of potentially things you just don't want to see. It's a very unfortunate problem that has continued to plague Nintendo in the Nintendo Switch generation. Really hoping by the time we get to Switch 2 that whether it's got a physical release or not, we just don't see a week or two in advance every game potentially being spoiled online. That will obviously all come down to Nintendo's own encryption and just how hard it is to emulate the Switch 2 on a PC and play its games effectively. And as long as we don't have a repeat situation where all of the first 20-30,000 of the consoles of Switch 2 that Nintendo ships out can be easily hacked with something like a paperclip, well, we might not have that exact same situation unfold, at least as aggressively as it has been this generation when we switch to that console. But for the time being, all of the blockbuster hits, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Echoes of Wisdom, Mario Party Jamboree, really anything, if it gets a physical cartridge and they start shipping these things around in the background, they always end up dumped and leaked online well ahead of the official release date. So very unfortunate news for Nintendo. They are not happy about it at all, I am certain. And it could have been some of the reason we've even seen different purchase requirements with a lot of retailers recently, like Target and Best Buy, I believe, are the two big retailers here in the US, maybe even GameStop, that you can still pre-order Nintendo Switch physical games at. Amazon and Walmart are off that list. You used to be able to pre-order physical first-party Nintendo Switch games, no problem. Nowadays, Nintendo's not supplying them with those copies, probably because they thought some of these leaks were coming from somewhere in those supply chains, but it doesn't appear to be necessarily going in their favor, because this one almost happening 3 weeks ahead of the official release for Brothership. Not a good look for all of the distribution partners that Nintendo has out there. So let me know in the comments down below if you're hyped for Mario and Luigi Brothership, and if you're any more pumped now that Acquire is the developed studio. What do you think of some of the preview and hands-on footage we've seen from different media outlets? And with all the promotion you've seen around this game so far, as of right now, is it a day one purchase for you on November 7th, or will you maybe wait for a future sale, or maybe you're just not interested in this particular release and might skip it altogether? So make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell. And with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.